Warning for Diné listeners. This case contains subjects which are considered taboo. If you do not wish to be exposed to them, skip this case.
This is interview number 1 of case number 2, codename Dear Guests.
The date is October 1st, 2023. Subjects, may you please give us your full name for the record?
Margot McBrady.
Hart Ritterbrown.
Now, you had told me there was some strange activity occurring in A dorm. Could you please elaborate?
So we were out one night with a bunch of people, all of us, a big old group of people, and we start walking out in the woods, right? Because we're just like,
and it's nighttime.
Yeah, it's nighttime, dark as hell. And like when we're walking around, like the deer, like they start kind of following us, and like, I don't know, getting a little close and kind of walking, kind of like, whoa, like they start moving with us. And we when we get back to the dorm, I see the deer outside my window every night. I look out and I see them, and they're looking up at me. I don't know, maybe something, but they follow us back to the dorm, and then like we go back upstairs because everybody's a little like spooked because the deer, they be following us. They don't usually be doing that. So we go upstairs, right? We go upstairs, and we all go to sleep. And like after, like as we're going to sleep, I look out the window. I see deer still. I don't know, they're still there. We go to sleep. Like 3 a.m. We wake up.
There's this banging sound, and they're banging, 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 and then there's like yelling, and I was just so confused. And so I'm talking to my friend Ella and my friend Hart here, and I'm like, what is that sound? And we're trying to get Ella to go out and check on what the sound is, and she's like, I'm not doing that, I'm going to bed. So she gets up and she goes to bed, and me and Hart are sitting there and we're listening to the sounds, and I'm like, I really think that we should go and investigate. And we were on floor 7 of the A dorm when we heard the sounds, and we kind of investigated a little bit on floor 7, and we couldn't like see anyone or hear anyone, but then we could still hear the banging upstairs. So we went up a floor to 8.
So we go up the floor, and then we're going down the hallway to like kind of back area, right? Like with you've got the singles, and then the singles on both sides. We were on the singles at the side with the hallway that smells like shit on every floor. Mm-hmm. We go back there, and there's these 2 people. Like we hear rustling, so we're kind of like.
And it's so strange because it's a boy and a girl, and the boy his head is honestly probably touching the ceiling, like brushing
scraping
the ceiling tiles, and then the girl is like probably 3.5 feet tall. Like I don't want to say she had dwarfism, but she seemed very, very small.
They were short.
But he was giant. He was giant. It was a little bit unsettling, but that is just how they looked.
Yeah, but anyway, we run into them. They come out, and then they're kind of like freaked out. They're like, see my eyes kind of big. They're like, what's going on? And we're like, oh, did you guys hear that? Like the calamity that's going down there? And they're like, yeah, like that. It was weird, right? Weird. And so we start like moving with them, and the whole time that like we're like trying to figure out what's going on, they're kind of behind us, and they're like,
and they're moving in a way that's very unsettling. I can't even explain it myself, but it was inhuman.
Something unnatural, nothing behind the eyes either.
And so we're walking around with them, and I'm a little bit out of it. It is like 3 or 4 in the morning, and the whole situation's really weird. But they're going around and they're kind of murmuring, and they're like, is this his door? Is this his door? And so they go up to this one door and they start banging on it, and then bah, 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 and they're going, wake up! Wake up! And we're like, what is going on? And then they're like, that's not his door, that's the wrong door. And so they go across the hall, and we follow them across the hall, and they start doing the same thing, and they're banging on the door, and they're going, wake up! Wake up! And we're like, what is going on? And Hart realizes before me that that's what the banging noise is.
Yeah, they're looking for people. They're trying to find
looking
somebody.
For someone. And we were asking them, we were like, what is going on? And they just wouldn't explain it. And the weirdest part was, I asked them what was going on, and they were just so freaked out. The guy was just like furious, and then the girl was like trying to calm him down, and she goes, let's get on the ground, let's do some push-ups. And that was the strangest part to me. And it wasn't even that scary, but it was just unsettling. But they just got on the ground and they started doing push-ups, and I have photographic evidence of this.
Yeah, no, they just for like 2 minutes.
And at that point, I was not sure if I was in a dream or awake, which is why I said, Hart, I'm going to take a picture of this, so in the morning I'll be sure. And so I took a photo of them doing push-ups, and I had it in the morning, which proved to me that this was a real experience that had happened. But after they did the push-ups, they were kind of just like explaining to us that they were looking for his roommate because he was locked out of his room. But then the weirdest part that was really confusing to me was that in the end, they both went down the elevator and left the building, like neither of them were living in building A.
They didn't stay there. They were just there. They were looking for somebody.
But they came out of a room in the singles, which was confusing.
It's true. They like appeared in that shit hallway.
So it was very mysterious.
Yeah.
And some of our friends have been seeing shadow people in their rooms at night.
It's true. Yeah, our friend Will, like he's been telling us about this dream or these dreams he's been having where he'll wake up in the middle of the night, or I guess waking dream. He wakes up and like we're there with him, and or people are there and they're talking.
Yeah. At first it was
something happening.
At first it was just like people like in the room, like just like hanging around as if it was like a dorm party. But he said the other night that he woke up and that me and Hart were there, and he was talking to Hart, and I was kind of just sitting there, which I thought was really weird because I never go in his room at night.
Yeah, we don't know about that. I haven't seen any shadow people, but I do be hearing the knocking and the stuff on all the doors and the building creaking and shit.
Yeah, and we have some spiritual friends who like have like rocks and crystals that protect them, and like we have a friend who's been writing us runes to protect us. But I don't know. Also, I was in Hart's room the other night and the walls were creaking, and my friend Ella, who's the one who has the crystals and the runes and
The
is
knocking
into the witch
video.
stuff, yeah, there's been a lot going on. There's just been like some strange noises in some of the people's rooms.
Yeah, a lot of crazy shit happening.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the people that you found that one day doing the push-ups anywhere else on campus, or?
I've seen them around. I've seen the tall guy. I haven't seen the short girl,
Yeah.
but I've seen him around. But he like doesn't recognize me from that night, and like we
He's
haven't
different.
talked about it at all. Like he doesn't act like he did that night.
Yeah, he's like a guy when you talk to him now, but then he was like,
Yeah.
like something was up.
We're thinking that it may have been the deer, and that they might have been skinwalkers.
Yeah, like I don't know. I've seen some stuff, man. I've been seeing some videos, and it's like, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
crazy shit.
Are there any other details?
I mean,
It's just that we see the deer every night, and it's just been freaking me out. And I'm worried that they're gonna come back to the building.
true. They look up in the windows a lot, or at least in mine. I look down.
They're always on that field that's by the HCC, and then they kind of like walk back with us towards the dorm, and then they usually stop once we get past the apartments.
It actually seems like there's a group of them that shack up down by one of the building, I guess, across from a building in that kind of cluster of
Yeah.
apartments. They shack up there sometimes, and that's how I see them from my window in the
Mhm.
corner.
But there's just hundreds of them, which is crazy. I've
Everywhere.
never seen so many deer in my life.
Do you have any ideas on what they might want?
My skin, I don't know, to eat me.
I don't know.
I don't know. That's part of why it's freaked out. I don't know.
I know
Maybe
that
we're
there's
hexed.
some vacant rooms in the A building.
Mhm.
Like the 9th and 10th floor are completely empty, so I think they may be looking for some place to live, maybe.
Sure, possibly.
Mhm.
Shack up for more victims.
Do you think this might have anything to do with the hidden room in a building?
Hidden room.
Well, now I think that's
Yeah,
it.
no, you know what? That would explain a lot.
Yeah.
I this is my first time hearing of this. Clearly,
We've only been here for 2 weeks, and we're already
okay.
afraid.
yeah, no, I'd be unsurprised though if it had something to do with an occult situation.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you for everything you had to say. We'll be looking into this.
Thank
For
you.
sure, no problem.
This interview revealed multiple elements to us, which we believe could be explained logically. Of course, we like to take a deeper look into all the matters brought to us. No story is ever discounted. Starting with the noise complaint, we launched an investigation using our parabolic mic to pick up any unusual noises, as Margot and Hart are not alone in their claims of sudden and unusual frequencies. It should be noted that entrance to the building and the uninhabited floors was very easy despite not being a resident of the building. In fact, our source from RAD says they have had issues with frequent break-ins due to the lackluster security measures. The results from our sound monitoring were consistent with that of an old building, with shoddy repairs. However, some might argue that a certain level of disrepair is needed to make the influence of the strange detectable to our human senses, but we concluded our findings to be within the norm. What was strange was the sheer number of break-ins into the building, as reported by a RAD informant. As though the building was easy to enter, it remains a mystery why so many non-residents keep forcing their way in. We suspect the hidden room may be acting as a lure for some of these infiltrators, who might be seeking a small thrill. However, this alone could not account for the sheer number of break-ins, as knowledge of the room is not widespread, speaking specifically on the intruders Margot and Hart ran into. we have no way of discerning their identities. However, based on the description, we believe they may have been under the influence of an unknown substance. One of our team members even hypothesized this may have been a contributing factor in being lured into the building, as individuals under the influence of some substances have been known to become more sensitive to strange forces, such as those rumored to be present within a dorm. Finally, moving on to the matter of the deer and skinwalkers, we think we should first discuss the lore behind them, as its perception has largely become warped by media. Many don't know what they actually are, and often confuse them for zoanthropes, such as werewolves, that being humans which turn into specific beasts and have in part lost their humanity. The skinwalker is very much human, and is probably best compared to something like a witch. They are in no way cursed or afflicted, and their evil is all born from conscious choice. People typically attribute it as a Native American myth. However, its roots lie specifically within the Navajo people, who originally named skinwalkers Ye-Nallushi, but you may have heard it mispronounced as Yanaglashi. Its name meaning by means of it goes on all fours, which is in reference to their ability to take on the guise of living things by killing them and putting their skin through a ritual. While in theory, the ritual could be done with any animal, some are less likely due to size, availability, or being sacred, with only some skins being usable by very skilled skinwalkers. Things that are considered common are the coyote, buck, and wolf. They are also said to be able to paralyze you and move at incredible speeds, leaving you completely vulnerable. Their knowledge allows them to do much more, similar to medicine men, to which they are the opposite. As well as medicine men seek to heal, the skinwalker seeks to harm. Although opposed to media, their harm is often indirect and subtle, such as by dealing out curses or causing sickness. While they could attack you with their animal form, that was not how they were believed to operate, rather using their animal form to covertly or quickly move between places, and using handmade or organic weapons, should they choose to do physical damage. It should be noted that many of the skinwalkers' powers are drawn from the land, so finding one outside of the Navajo nations is not very likely. As well, they could learn to draw power from different lands. It would not be an easy feat. That is, after all, why they are commonly referred to as Navajo witches. Keeping all this in mind, nothing in this case would strongly indicate the presence of a skinwalker. If anything, based on what the lore tells us, the odds of a capable skinwalker being on campus are less than minute. Priding ourselves on being thorough, we still went ahead and investigated the deer, using a parabolic mic and night vision goggles. We initiated an operation wherein 3 separate 6-hour days we monitored the deer grazing near the site. Predictably, nothing was observed. The deer consistently grazed and shuffled about in a manner which would be considered normal. The behavior that so alarmed Hart and Margot easily explained away. You see, before we even started the investigation, we were familiar with the local deer, and how accustomed they had become to humans. You'd be hard-pressed to find a deer you could not get surprisingly close to before scaring them off. Some people even feed the deer, resulting in them sometimes following people, as Hart and Margot came to experience. To any seasoned greener, their behavior would not come off as unusual or even unnatural, and other populations of deer have come to act similarly after continued human exposure. As for Will and his shadow people, we do not have enough information to launch an investigation, but we have offered him our free services should he seek answers, as we do to all residents of Olympia.